The Ibadan sun was hot, beating down on the corrugated iron roofs with a fury that promised no relief. But for Amina, the heat from the sun was nothing compared to the fire in the eyes of the women in her compound. As she tied her wrapper firmly around her waist, preparing for the daily trek to the market, the whisper started, low and sharp like the buzz of angry mosquitoes. "See her, shameless woman," hissed Mama Chidi from her doorway, her lips curled in a permanent sneer. "4 children, 4 different fathers. Now wow, God forbid bad thing," added another neighbor, fanning herself dramatically as if Amina's presence alone was suffocating. Amina straightened her back. She had learned long ago that to slouch was to show them they had won. She was a walking scandal, a story mothers told their daughters as a warning. But inside her small 2-room apartment, she was just Mama. She was the sun, moon, and stars to 4 bright-eyed children who saw none of the shame the world tried to heap upon her. Her purpose was simple, etched into her heart every morning. My children must chop. Today, the mission was agege bread, the soft, sweet bread that could make a king out of a pauper's meal.
As she stepped out of the compound, the whispers followed her onto the street. They clung to her like the red dust kicked up by the Okadas roaring past. At the market, it was worse. The noise was a symphony of chaos. Sellers shouting prices, buyers haggling, a preacher with a megaphone promising salvation. But Amina could still pick out the specific notes of gossip meant for her. "Amina, how badi?" called Mama Funka, the fat pepper seller, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "You buy bread for your army? You try, oh." Amina gave a tight, polite smile. "Mama Funka, good morning. Yes, oh, the children must eat." She clutched the few crumpled Naira notes in her hand. They felt small and insignificant against the weight of the world's judgment. For a second, her feet felt heavy. The insults, the stares, the loneliness, it was a heavy load to carry. But then an image flashed in her mind. Pere, her firstborn, his small 8-year-old hands covered in charcoal dust, his face a mask of intense concentration as he sketched on a scrap of cement paper. He could draw anything, make it look real. He was her little artist. That thought was all the fuel she needed. She pushed through the crowd, her destination, the bakery, her spirit unbroken. Meanwhile, in the stuffy, overcrowded classroom of St. Peter's Primary School, Pere was in his own world. The teacher, Mr. Adebayo, was droning on about multiplication tables, but Pere heard nothing. In his tattered exercise book, a creature was coming to life. It was a magnificent eagle, its wings spread wide, every feather drawn with a precision that was startling for a boy his age. It wasn't just any eagle. It looked like the ones he'd seen in old storybooks about Sango, the god of thunder. It looked powerful.
Mr. Adebayo, a kind man with tired eyes who had seen too much potential wasted, was walking down the aisles. He often worried about Amina's children. He'd heard the talk, seen the pity, but when he stopped at Pere's desk, his breath caught in his throat. He wasn't looking at the son of that woman. He was looking at an artist. "Pere," he said, his voice gentle. Pere jumped, quickly trying to hide the drawing. He expected a slap on the head for not paying attention, a sharp, "You dey play when I dey teach, abi?" But Mr. Adebayo's eyes were wide with wonder. He picked up the book carefully, as if it were a precious thing. "Ah, my God, Pere, what is this?" he whispered, turning the book to catch the light. This is a gift, a pure gift from God." After the closing bell, Mr. Adebayo called Pere to his desk. The other children ran out screaming with the joy of freedom, but Pere walked slowly, his heart thumping with fear. "Don't be afraid, my boy," Mr. Adebayo said, his smile warm. He pulled out a newspaper clipping. It was an advertisement for a national art competition for young students. The grand prize was a full scholarship to a prestigious arts academy in Lagos. "In this life, Pere," the teacher said, looking him straight in the eye, "God gives everyone a special talent. Your own is in your hands. This is your power. This scholarship It means they will pay for everything. Your school fees, your books, your drawing materials, everything. It can change your life. Pere stared at the paper, the words blurring. Scholarship, Lagos. Could this be real?
He ran home faster than he had ever run before. He burst into their small compound, skidding to a halt in front of his mother, who was outside washing clothes, her arms deep in soapy water. "Mama, Mama," he panted, his chest heaving. Amina looked up, her face weary. "Betty, what's in happen? You caused trouble for school again?" "No, Mama, it's teacher, Mr. Adebayo." He thrust the newspaper clipping at her. "He say I sabi paro. He say I can win scholarship to go to big school in Lagos." Amina wiped her hands on her wrapper and took the paper. She couldn't read well, but she saw the picture of a smiling child holding a paintbrush. She looked from the paper to her son's shining, hopeful face. Disbelief warred with a desperate rising hope in her chest. "Scholar Whitin, Betty, are you sure this teacher is not a 419 scammer?" "No, Mama, he is a good man. He said my art is a gift from God." And just like that, the dam broke. Amina dropped to her knees, pulling Pere into a fierce hug, the scent of soap and sweat and hardship mingling with the sweet smell of her son's hope. Tears, hot and fast, streamed down her face. They weren't the tears of sadness she often cried in the dead of night. They were tears of joy, of pride, of a relief so profound it shook her entire body. "My begin," she cried, her voice thick. "My son, God has finally remembered us. Thank you, Jesus."
Word travels fast in a place like Ibadan. The news of Pere's talent and the potential scholarship spread through the market like wildfire. The change was slow, but it was real. One afternoon, as Amina walked past the paper store, Mama Funke called out to her, "Amina, na true waiting we dey hear. Then see your boy na genius. Say him dey draw like angel." Her voice held no mockery, only a strange new respect. Before Amina could answer, Mwachidi, the one who always hissed shameless, chimed in from her stall. We hear say if you'd win big money to go to school for Lagos, you are a lucky woman, oh." Amina stood there for a moment, a small, knowing smile playing on her lips. She looked at the faces that had scorned her for years, now looking at her with a mix of awe and envy. She didn't gloat. She didn't remind them of their cruelty. She simply held her head high, the wish she always had. But this time, it felt different. It felt lighter. "Thank you," she said, her voice clear and steady. "God is in control." As she walked away, the whispers that followed her were different. They were no longer words of judgment, but of wonder. Amina's journey was far from over. But for the first time, she wasn't walking alone. She was walking with the pride of a mother whose love had been vindicated, whose child was a testament not to her shame, but to her strength. Her son was going to paint them a new story, a beautiful one, and the whole world would have no choice but to watch.